Hello, my name is Ortez, and welcome to Ensure Your Success for Insurance Agents. And thank you for tuning in for another video. But before I get started, if you could do me a favor, subscribe, like, and if you like this video, please share it with other insurance agents. So today's topic, I want to talk about the pros and the cons of being a captive agent, an independent agent, and an agent that specializes. If you're new to this industry, one of the choices that you're going to have to make is what type of agent are you going to be? Are you going to be a captive agent, an independent agent, or are you going to be an agent that specializes? You could be successful at any one, but there are some pros and cons that I want to share with you based upon my personal experiences by being each one of these. So let's first take a look at what it looks like to be an independent agent. First, let's take a look at some of the pros. One of the pros is that you have many options. You have many different options to provide your clients. You have many different carriers that you could work with to find the best product or the best price that you're looking for your particular client. You also have some flexibility. And flexibility is a good thing. You could be flexible. For example, maybe a client reaches out to you for some final expense life insurance to take care of that protection that's going to provide a policy to cover their burial. But they also may have a need for some mortgage protection life insurance, an insurance policy in the event of their untimely death that will take care of that mortgage balance, which leads into customizing. As an independent insurance agent, you are able to customize a plan to fit that particular client's needs. Now let's take a look at some of the cons. The complexity of learning all the different type of carriers and their products can pose a problem for many new insurance agents that's coming into the business. As my mother will always tell me, you could be a jack of all trades and master of none. So just the complexity of trying to learn all these variations of different products and services could be a con for most insurance agents. Another con is less support. As an independent insurance agent, you're probably not going to receive the support that a captive agent may receive. As the word says it, you are independent, which means that majority of the responsibility may fall on you. For a new licensed insurance agent, this may pose a problem, which you will have a longer learning curve than a captive agent who may have someone to provide them with support, which reduces their learning curve. Which leads me into the next con, which is income volatility. As a newly independent insurance agent, you may see a lot of income volatility in your first few years due to the fact of your learning curve, where it may take you a much longer time to learn about this business than someone who may be a captive agent who has that training and that support and that mentorship. Now let's take a look at the pros and cons of being a captive agent. One of the pros as a captive agent, you have a system to plug into. My first 10 years as an insurance agent, I was a captive agent. And the organizations that I worked for all had a system for me to plug into. I didn't have to worry about creating a system like an independent insurance agent. It was a plug, play, and I was ready to go. So my learning curve was a lot quicker than the agent who came in as an independent insurance agent. The next pro about choosing to be a captive agent is the support. As a captive agent, I was blessed to really have some good mentors that I could call on anytime if I needed an answer to a question. Unlike the independent agent, where you have to go out and find the answer, as a captive agent, if I was sitting in a house and I was confused about something or I needed some help to close the sale, I had someone to call. Also, the support of someone helping me to guide me along my career and was also tied to my success. The next pro about being a captive agent is the training that it provided. As a captive agent for the organizations that I worked for, we had structural training. Not just some training or someone telling me to go watch some videos, but a live person that can sit down with me and train me, but also go out with me in the field to observe me to help me get better. Now, there is some kinds to being a captive agent too as well. And the first one is limited product availability. With the independent agent has multiple products that they can offer. But as a captive agent, your product availability is limited. For example, the first company that I worked for as a captive agent only had one type of life insurance product, and that was term insurance. No other life insurance product that they had available. The independent agent has multiple insurance products: term insurance, whole life insurance, IULs, disability policies, health insurance policies, which leads me to my next kind, which is potential for bias. Because I only had that one product, I was biased about that product. I had to make myself believe that this was the only product that everybody needed, and that was far from the truth. So I developed a bias for the product because that was the only product that I had. Which leads me to my next kind, as being a captive agent, that you are less competitive. By having this one product, it puts you in a position that you are less competitive, unlike the independent insurance agent who has multiple products that they can shop around to help find the best product and the best price for that customer. So now I want to talk about the next type of insurance agent, and that is a specialist. So what is a specialist insurance agent? A specialist insurance agent typically focuses on a certain type of demographic and the products that suit that particular demographic. For example, the senior market. I would consider myself now as a specialist insurance agent. I focus on the senior market and the products that address that particular demographic. So let's take a look at some of the pros of being a specialist insurance agent. The first pro is you become an expert for that particular demographic group of people. By you specializing in a particular group or particular demographic, you gain a certain expertise for that particular group. Another pro is you build a reputation among that group. By being an expert for that particular group, you then begin to gain a reputation as a specialist, which often leads to other individuals in that particular group referring other individuals like them to you because of your expertise. And the next pro is tailored solutions. You provide tailored solutions for that particular group. You know the exact products that is needed to address that demographic of people. But there are some kinds of being a specialist agent. Being a specialist agent can cause you to have limited growth. So what do I mean by that? Let's take someone who specializes in mortgage protection life insurance. Well, when the housing industry is up and booming, that particular agent, their business is booming. But when the housing industry slows down, then that particular agent business starts to slow down. So that particular agent who specializes has limited growth. Which leads me into my next kind, which is market dependency. Now, most market dependencies are external factors. So let me give you an example. One of the products that I offer is Medicare Advantage. And Medicare Advantage is regulated by CMS, Centers for Medicare Services, which is a federal government entity. This entity sets the rules and the regulations for us to sell and offer this particular product. At any time, CMS could change the rules, which can have a negative or positive impact on my business. So that would be an example of market dependency. Another example of market dependency is an agent who specializes in mortgage protection. Again, if the housing industry starts to tank, then that person's business starts to tank with that too as well. The next kind about being a special agent is lack of diversification. When you tend to specialize in one particular group, and due to market dependency, you have to go another direction, you may not have the product or the skill set to switch directions because you are so limited on your diversification. Now for my final thoughts. Over the last 20 years, I have learned to take the pros from each. I have learned to take the pros from being an independent agent, as a captive agent, and a specialist, and come up with what I like to call a hybrid model. For example, my agency is an independent insurance agent model, but we implement the captive model of providing the training and the support, and also the specialist model by specializing with one particular demographic. So we take the pros from each model and we combine it into one. We find this to be the best approach. But once again, you can make money in either model. Don't let nobody tell you that one model is better than the other. I have personally made money in each model, and I have friends who have made money in each model, as well as mentors who are extremely successful. Which model is the best model for you? Well, it depends on where you at in your particular career and what type of support and direction that you are looking to go in. I hope you found this video helpful in explaining the difference between an independent agent, a captive agent, and the specialist. And if you could do me a favor, leave a comment. Let me know if you're an independent agent, a captive agent, a specialist, some of the pros, some of the cons. I like to see your comments, so please make sure that you share them with me. Until next time, this is Ortez with Ensure Your Success. I'll see you on the next video.